whether people can join up to a minyan, not just if they are in different places, which was discussed that they can't do for the purposes of tefillah b'tzibur, but also if they are davening different amidot. And Rabbi Weiss frames the rest of the discussion in this way. He says, when you are davening together with everybody else over Zoom, let's say, is that tefillah rabim, even if it's not tefillah b'tzibur? And how do we understand the parameters of tefillah b'tzibur, particularly with respect to the amidah, but also things like kaddish and kedusha, etc. So picking up from the discussion that we looked at yesterday and thinking about this idea of trying to get the benefits of the Shekhinah being amongst the group of the minyan who are davening, and that Eitz Ratzon in tefillah that we've been talking about, that special time in the tefillah davening together. He addresses in more depth the question we looked at very briefly yesterday about somebody who is davening shacharit at the time when the rest of the community is davening musaf, and even though there are a minyan of people together, say that there is 10, 2 are davening shacharit and 8 are davening musaf, even though of course there is a minyan together, that's not considered to be tefillah b'tzibur, because it's not the same tefillah b'tzibur. Kaddish can be recited. The question which we'll get onto is whether kedusha could be recited, but it does not seem to be tefillah b'tzibur. Now there are other views. That's based on the Magen Avraham, Rabbi Avraham Gombin, one of the great 18th century commentators on the Shulchan Aruch. Now there are other views that say, hold on, even if it's not the 8 Ratzon, at least nonetheless, it's a gathering of Jews together, and they might not get the segula of tefillah, but at least they get in some way the 8 Ratzon of Jews davening together. But the main view in the poskim is to say that that's not tefillah b'tzibur. It's an important practical ramification of this, as we mentioned yesterday, is if someone gets to shul late on Shabbat morning, even for, of course, for good reasons. Now, Rabbi Weiss then expands this a little bit more, and he quotes the Magen Avraham once again, and he says, what about the din though, that if a person unfortunately can't daven in shul on Rosh Hashanah, as happens unfortunately for many people this year, what the Shulchan Aruch notes that ideally an individual should not daven musaf in the first 3 hours of the day, unless they're davening at the time which the tzibur is davening as well. This is based on understanding when the time of din is, the time of judgment is on Rosh Hashanah, and the most appropriate time to blow the shofar based on that. Which means in practical terms that if a shul starting at, let's say, 7:30 on Rosh Hashanah, and they're not going to get to musaf until, let's say, 10 o'clock, depending on when the first 3 hours of the day using Sha'ot Zmaniyot, halachic hours would be arranged. In those first 3 hours, you shouldn't daven musaf by yourself. Instead, you should link yourself up to the community. Now, this is curious, given what we said before. If tefillah b'tzibur is when you're davening together in the same space, why would it be that somebody that unfortunately can't come to shul on Rosh Hashanah should try and strive to only daven musaf after a certain time, which is the time that the community is going to be davening, or maybe even at the same time as the community, and not daven beforehand? Based on what we said before, what would the benefit be of this? So on Sunday, or being well, we'll look into this further and see how Rabbi Weiss develops the discussion to try and answer the questions he sets out and the parameters which he's drawn up for us. In the meantime, have a great day and Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Yeah.